Something about armor needs to change. The armor bag is just too good when compared to the other deployables, and that is not a good thing. The first thing that comes to mind when a single option is stronger than all the others is to nerf it.
Are you looking at this?
But I don't think that that is the best choice in this situation. To see why the armor bag is so good, let's look at all 4 deployables to see how they compare. The first deployable to discuss is the Sentry gun. Although it is very gimmicky, it isn't bad, unlike in 2. In fact, it is actually pretty good and its effects are very noticeable. However, it is obvious why this is not the most popular option. A large skill point investment and a high maintenance playstyle makes this option niche, but still useful. The next deployable is the ammo bag, a very useful equipment as you need bullets to fend off the waves of cops. Not only does it give you ammo, but it also gives you throwables, which makes it very good. Having one person spec into ammo in your team is nice, as you only really need one person with an ammo bag to keep your team topped up. Now this is where the real conversation begins. The Doctor Bag is the second most important deployable in this discussion, as it and the Armor Bag both have very similar jobs. The Armor Bag heals your armor chunks, while the Doctor Bag heals your actual health, and with upgrades it can give you nearly a full heal with one use, as well as restoring a single down. However, the Armor Bag is just better at preventing damage than the Doctor Bag, and this comes to how damage works in Payday 3. You will basically never go down if you still have armor. There are only 3 things in the game that can damage your health through armor, 4 if you can't fall damage. These 3 are the Cloaker, the Taser, sorry, I meant Zapper, and the Nader. The Cloaker only really is a threat when alone, and most of the time it only really gets 1 or 2 slaps in you before dying because you have teammates around to free you. And that damage is so little that using a first aid kit from a hostage trade is worth more health than you lost, making it a waste to even heal using those. The Zapper very rarely even gets their ability off, and when they do, it is a similar situation to the Cloaker because it does damage your health directly, although it's even less of a threat than the Cloaker because not only is it less damage, but it's even possible to free yourself without skills. The final enemy that can damage your health directly is the Nader. The Nader's gas does a surprisingly large amount of damage, and it's the only real thing that'll actually damage your health if you still have armor. However, the attack is not only very telegraphed, and it has a noticeable delay between when the gas starts dealing damage, but the Nader also will avoid throwing gas if you have hostages around. So this means you're never going to go down if you have armor, making the healing from the Doctor Bag pointless and the down restoring ability meaningless, which is why the best armor is the heavy lining. The loss of a down doesn't really matter because you aren't going to go down if you have armor. The only time you really die and go to custody from lack of downs is when you run out of armor and have no way to restore it, and I feel like the extra trunk provided by the heavy lining is more valuable than the few bullets your health can take with that extra down. The skill armor up is also one of the reasons why armor builds are so strong, as you get 2 chunks back per 1 use of the armor bag. With heavy lining, you can full restore your armor with just 2 uses instead of 4, healing double the amount as light armor with the same resources. Not only that, but in most situations, a single use of an armor bag will always give you more effective health than a single use of a Doctor Bag. I tested this theory with a best case scenario for the Doctor Bag, where I had a maximum upgraded Doctor Bag and no upgrades for the armor bag, and let's look at the results. Although this is far from concrete proof, as there are many factors going into this comparison, this shows that even with maximum upgrades, a Doctor Bag is only really as good as a baseline, no upgrades armor bag. However, the real reason the armor bag is the best deployable in the game has nothing to do with the fact that it's just better than the Doctor Bag, and it's the fact that the armor bag is the only way to get armor. Look at the deployables this way. They all do something that you can already do. The Sentry gun does the same thing that these do. The ammo bag isn't necessarily needed because the cops drop ammo on death, and with skills you can even get back throwables from ammo drops. The Doctor Bag is not the only way to get health, as trading hostages gives you health, and with skills you can even get 2 first aid kits for 1 hostage. And you can also turn enemies into hostages to get even more healing throughout the entire heist. You theoretically don't need any of these deployables because all these resources you can get without needing the deployables. All except for the armor bag. And this is the real issue, and to fix the armor bag, we need to fix this issue. My proposal to fix this problem is to have employees given armor plate when traded during assaults. This armor plate would give less armor than the one from the armor bag, the same way that first aid kits dropped from hostages don't give as much healing as the doctor bag use. Having only employees give armor would make it so that it is still a limited resource, and it would balance the very, very strong skill Silver Tongue way more. The manipulator skill tree is so good, and it should be nerfed in some way, and I think that this indirect nerf is perfect. This change would make it so that there is more of a choice when trading employees, as what the skill does right now is make it so employees are worth 2 hostages during the negotiation phase. This change where employees drop armor would make it so that the player has a choice to make. They could delay the initial assault, or they can save their hostages and risk them being freed to be able to get armor. I don't think it would be a good idea to have SWAT drop armor plates when traded, although it would make sense as they do have armor on them. It would just make the manipulator tree even stronger, as you need that to even take SWAT hostages in the first place. Maybe they will later add skills that can improve health, and you can do a full health build where you can tank without armor. Maybe they will add dodge back too, so it's an alternative to armor. Or maybe they'll just nerf the shit out of the armor bag, who knows. All I know is that something about armor needs to change.